Welcome back to the World's 2024 play-in stage as Mad Lions were able to triumph over the opposition here. We take a look at the post-game breakdown. You can see while it might have been back and forth at certain stages, overall still a very commanding victory. Guys, how did you feel about that game?
Yeah! We won play-ins!
Gentlemen, come on!
We lost that, guys, Mike.
Okay. Anyway, great day for... Guys, come on. We have another series in front of us. As much as this is a great day for the LEC, there's other regions to talk about and other teams as well. Let's check in with Oddie from R7 about this historic upset in the Verizon Game Day interview.
And welcome to the Verizon Game Day interview here with Oddie. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
How do you feel after yesterday, after everything you made happen yesterday? Historic day for LLA.
To be honest, I feel like amazing right now. I mean, right now confident because we won versus a good team. So, I don't know, it's a good feeling because it's a lot of relief for a region, I think.
I know that it means so much for you, for the region, for the team, but I'm just wondering, was anything different for your preparation here coming into Worlds? Because you've been here for such a long time, and when I see the way you guys played yesterday, and I don't know, the fire from R7 yesterday, I'm just wondering if something was different.
I mean, it wasn't that different. We were practicing versus really good teams for scrims, but I think most likely the difference is the feeling because it's like the last LLA, you know? So I think everyone thinks we should improve because this is the last one. We should do our best. I mean, for me, I want the region be happy, so that's why I put so much effort in this Worlds.
And you want to show the best you can, and you want to show a big of course here at Worlds, one step away from the main event. How do you feel right now? How are you getting ready for the upcoming series?
I mean, I'm really confident right now. Literally, yesterday win was really above our confidence. I think we can make it happen. I like also the I don't know, making them believe is really good for us.
Yeah.
Literally because it's the last one. So yeah, I'm very confident and I think we're gonna make it.
Make them believe. I love the use of the slogan here. Last question for you. When I look at your games yesterday and I look at the GAM games yesterday as well, I expect nothing else than a bloodbath. Do you agree here?
I 100% agree. I think we both teams who love to fight, so it's gonna depend on who fight better, and I hope it's us.
Wishing you the best. Buena suerte.
Muchas gracias.
For the games today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Oddie,
Thank you
for
so
the
much.
interview.
Incredible to hear from Oddie, also incredible to hear that it's going to be a day all about fighting on both sides. But we take a look at the MasterCard fan predictions. You can see GAM winning, but not by the big margin that I thought they would be, given their history and given the upset that it took for LLA to get here in the first place.
Well, I mean, as you say, it's been upset for LLA, but they did beat GAM back in 2023 at MSI to get that first win on the international stage. And now coming back off 100 Thieves, I can understand why a lot of fans are ready to rally behind the LLA.
No, I absolutely agree. And I also just think it's the fact that this is a region from LLA. You know, you love to cheer for an underdog. They've never really made it this far, you know what I mean? Like, they've been in positions where, yeah, they took one series, but then they had to go up against a major region or something in play-ins, and it didn't look doable. This time around, they have the opportunity to do so, and they're up against GAM, who actually was the first opponent ever they beat at the international stage in a best-of-3. So, lots of stakes between these two teams, and there's a revenge match for GAM.
We got history, we got rivalry, we got stakes. That's everything we need, 100% sorted. Players are taken to the stage. Let's send it over to the casters.
Thank you, Draco. So we are here for the second series of the day. It's GAM versus R7. R7, of course, coming off that historic upset over 100 Thieves, taking them down. Coming into the event, I think everyone would be thinking GAM is the heavy favorites, but not so fast. It's a lot harder to say now after the results from the other days.
Definitely not. R7 coming in with huge amounts of momentum with their momentous victory against 100 Thieves just yesterday. Again, the stakes for both of these teams: win this series and they actually make it out of play-in into Swiss. Something Oddie has never done, something the LLA has never done. The VCS has been through the Swiss stage a couple of times. There are actually years where they were getting preceded into the Swiss stage because they'd been so dominant in the play-in stage. But they still need to have a big-time performance today to get through again.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it'd be just massive for R7 if they are able to do it. I mean, that was their first ever series win at Worlds, period. Against 100 Thieves. The LA had never done it before. So if they could do it back to back, make it through the upper bracket of play-ins, what a coup that would be. That would be incredible for the team, for the region, for the players. We'll see if they're going to be able to perform at that level. Summit, of course, was so big for the team against 100 Thieves, was able to create really big lane advantages against Sniper, and was such a large part, I think, of their victory. And you look over on the other side, you've got Kiaya, who's been playing just as well, who's been playing at such a high level, was really massive in their series as well against the Hawks.
And I gotta say, love the Aurora ban, because Kiaya was so incredible on Aurora in their victory both games. So getting that out of the way, I think, is going to be the case in every game this series.
I'm so interested, though, you know, are you going to be banning out some of the Summit champs here? Because, you know, he's so well known for champions like his Gnar, like his Jace, you know, these types of champs. And it is going to be left up and available. Obviously, you know, has a very good Renekton as well. So not worried about it just yet is GAM.
No, we have generally safe bans. The only strange one I'd say would be the LeBlanc, but just the fact that he won the last game to qualify for this series by playing the LeBlanc makes the ban valid.
It'll be interesting to see what Oddie and Levi are going to play as well, because both these guys were going pretty heavily towards team fighting junglers. You know, we saw a Wukong and a Shyvana for Levi, and we saw the Nocturne Orion combo, which they execute so well over for Oddie, as well as a Brandon and Wukong, right? So it's very much that team fight style. Rumble has still remained pretty high prio, yet to get a single win, though, at the play-in stage. It's 0-4. I think the nerfs for the champion were actually massive. When you take 20 damage off of your main damage ability at level 1, like, that is huge, and the E was also nerfed. So we'll see if Kiaya is able to get the first win on the board here for Rumble at the World's play-in stage.
Kiaya's been such a good Rumble in the past, so I can understand why he goes for it. I also think that when you're against Summit,
I'm really scared for his lane.
Maybe trying to neutralize him, thinking that the Rumble's going to be able to get perma-shove and maybe take him out a bit. But if you fall even a little bit behind against Summit, and he's, I'm going to say, the best laner in play-in, not overall, like best overall laner, but in the laning phase, I'd say he's the best in play-in, and the Gnar is right up his comfort zone.
I mean, you're giving him his most comfortable champion ever. Like, this is his most played champion in pro play in his career, in his 71 games on the Gnar. This is a champion, you know, across all the regions he's played in, that he was really, really known for just being so dominant on. He's known for pushing the limit to the absolute maximum, for getting shoved, for harassing you under your tower so incredibly well. And it is, again, going to be the Shyvana here for Levi. He did play it yesterday, and, you know, was able to win with it. Yone coming out here as well, which we haven't seen as much as I actually expected at the play-in stage. This is going to be the fourth Yone pick thus far, but definitely a really strong pairing here, especially when you have a lot of AP on the top side.
So much playmaking, and I think their ability to actually combo and win team fights with those three is very high, but at the same time, it's not a huge amount of CC, and they do need to be ahead. I'm really interested to see if Levi can pull off this Shyvana again, because it was such a niche pick that was actually a contested jungler in their VCS finals. It doesn't really do much until level 6, but once he was actually applying pressure on the map yesterday, it was dominant.
Yeah, I mean, it can farm incredibly fast, obviously. You know, that is kind of one of the major strengths. The team fighting can be quite powerful. You know, he did go with the Shojin Leandry's build last time he played it. That can be quite strong. You're just resetting that E cooldown, try to get as many of those out as you can. You know, obviously stacking up the damage with that Shojin. Every time you cast a spell, it's increasing the damage of those subsequent spells. And Shyvana definitely can be a threat, but I will say, Ezreal, not the easiest target to dive in onto. Of course, Keine here on the Syndra is going to be under, I think, a lot of pressure between the Yone and that Shyvana, as well as, you know, Equalizer and everything coming over the top. It just feels like already with the first 3 picks, GAM have locked themselves into playing essentially like a wombo combo style comp, right? Where it's going to be all about the ultimates, and if you can land those ultimates perfectly, then their team fight's going to go really, really well. If any of them start to miss, then you kind of fall off, you don't really have a lot of consistent damage, and your team fight's a disaster.
Yeah, It's going to be interesting to see what R7 goes for their support pick here, just because a couple of the engaged supports have been banned away, and you would almost think that Braum would have high value because of how heavily their dive is on the side of GAM.
I'd also say, though, like, just taking a Rel, you know, and taking that away from them.
Rel's look good.
Because Rel is so strong, and Rel also sets up perfectly for the Rumble, right? Like, to me, it's interesting that you do go towards that Wukong. It tells me that they want to pick for the winning 2v2 in bot, right? The Lyonz is trying to save that support pick for last to prioritize that 2v2, because obviously you could have got Wukong on 5th pick. It is going to be Poppy and MF, so a lot of early power in the lane. Poppy's base damages are incredibly high. We have seen that come out a little bit already at play-ins. Mostly we've been seeing like Aftershock, but you can't even go Hail of Blades, of course, and really ramp up that damage. Braum, as you called out, would be a good answer to a lot of this engage. You got 4 melee champions that are looking to dive. You have this Braum to stand in front of that Ezreal, keep them safe. You're looking over at the potential counter engage from something like a Wukong. I think R7 have set themselves up incredibly well in this first game. GAM, it's going to be all hit or miss. Like, yes, you have incredible ultimates and really a lot of power there, but the setup is pretty bad. Like, there's not any sort of guaranteed thing. You're really depending on like a Yone ult to hit first, or Poppy to like flash in and knock someone up with the R. Like, you don't have any Alistar or Rel or Leona or Nautilus to lock them down in the equalizer and the bullet time. And MF without any setup is usually really, really weak.
It absolutely is. So I'm liking the draft here from Rainbow 7.
I heavily favor their draft.
If they get one game, they'd be one game away from making their first Swiss change ever. This is a really historic matchup for them. I think controlling their own nerves within this game is going to be absolutely crucial. I think, weirdly enough, GAM is more likely to be the calm ones in this one. I think a lot of GAM was probably expecting to play against 100 Thieves in this game. They just need to make sure they don't let up because they're playing against Rainbow 7.
Yeah, we'll see how they're going to be able to perform here. And I got to say, nameplates off, I think Rainbow 7's draft wins like 8 out of 10 games. I think that draft is heavily, heavily favored. I really like what they brought out. You know, they have impressed thus far at the World's Play-In stage, and we'll see if they can continue that trend here as we're going to be heading on into game number 1. And remember, log into your Riot account on lolesports.com and watch Worlds Live to earn exclusive emotes, Worlds icons, and capsules. Get on there if you're not already doing it. There's also a really cool overlay now that they have in Twitch and through that VOD where you can actually see the skill order and all kinds of different stuff that's going on in game.
5-man invade with Braum. If they find anyone to tag with Q, it could burn a flash early or get a kill. Defensive line set up from GAM, but I'm expecting R7 to be able to get a ward. Got to be careful placing it in Poppy's face since they can see the Poppy sweeper. Yep, so they decide not to ward.
Yep. Everything looking pretty normal as far as the runes do go. Going to be Grasp before Summit. Of course, the Fleet nerfs have really pushed a lot of range champions away from Fleet. You know, so many more people are experimenting with Grasp on a number of different champions. We've seen Grasp Aurora, we've seen Grasp Vayne, we've seen all kinds of different stuff there. As Kiaya trying to get that information, the ward not actually spotted there, unfortunately, as they do use the sweeper. So they're going to have full info here of exactly what R7's start is.
Ooh, yep, they get to see Summit as well. So ward paying off a little bit. We got to see if this Rumble pick ends up paying off against Summit. He's looking for maybe a cheeky E or something, decides to back out of that bush early.
Yeah, I was just looking to see if there was an angle for that Electro Harpoon, get an early comment, bit of damage, but Summit intelligently just walks on the other side of the minions, and that was that.
Two most important things I'll see in this early game is really just tracking the top lane. Summit has been absolutely lane gapping people in his regional finals and also yesterday against Sniper. You'd see the MasterCard lane economy snapshot and it will be Summit 600 gold up, everyone else in R7 slightly behind. But then I also just want to see how easily Levi can get to level 6. Because yesterday, not only did he get to level 6 with the game still in a good state, he'd also taken a Drake on the Shyvana, which is extra powerful on that champion, and from there he took over the game.
Honestly, I think he's going to get to 6 pretty easily. Wukong is one of those kind of farming-heavy junglers as well. As Elio not quite able to have that Braum passive procced on him multiple times. EasyLove stepping forward. Had a really good couple games on the Jhin in their previous series. That quadra kill, I believe it was, to end that final game. was looking really good, and now they have pressure here through bot, getting that early push, and that could help Levi to get another early dragon for himself.
Yeah, and I think Shyvana really is the X factor in this game because we like R7's team composition, but we just haven't seen that much Shyvana. And I feel like, especially yesterday, he was winning some of these fights in a landslide, stacking up his ultimate extremely fast. There were some fights where he was landing like 5 or 6 empowered E's, just completely controlling the map. And it was drawing bans and getting picked away in his regional final. So it's definitely like a GAM specialty and a Levi specialty.
I mean, it's a good point, right? You know, if you do hit that ulti E, it is so powerful. And if you can hit multiple, you're doing so much damage. If you're missing them, your champion doesn't really do anything.
And if you fall behind, you look bad.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons they've been able to get so much practice on it, because generally speaking in the VCS, they were running over people. Vikings was the best team in the VCS in the regular season, but in the playoffs, GAM beat them in back-to-back best-of-5s. But they were just both so head and shoulders above the rest of the region that they were teams that were able to front-run in a lot of situations. I liked one of the quotes from the video before today where they were saying, like, these teams are really the reference for their region, right? We've seen Oddie represent the LLA so many times at the World Championship. We've seen Levi represent his region at the World Championship so often, and also getting to do it on a signature Shyvana is just really cool.
It is really cool, and I fully agree, because a lot of these regions, you know, these smaller regions, are absolutely dominated by a team, right? There's players who have just run the region for so long, guys like Oddie, and when you think of, you know, LJL, guys like, you know, Evie, you know, who has won, I think, like 12 LJL titles or something ridiculous. Like Levi has won something like 8 VCS titles. You know, these ridiculous amounts of times that they have won. It's kind of like you're on a team with them, you're just going to win, right? You know, they have been so good for so long, and here we have this jungle matchup, Levi versus Oddie. These guys have been around forever and really have been playing at a very high level since that time.
Going to be very fun to track them, as they're both on junglers who don't do much before level 6. So it's a bit of a handshake in terms of their ability to farm up. A lot of aggressive play coming down in the bot lane, but not much coming of it.
Yeah, Poppy is one of those champions where it's like you do have a lot of that early game power, but they kind of have to agree to fight you almost sometimes. We'll see how he's going to be able to perform later, because it is one of those really powerful champions. If you can find that perfect angle, find the flash in, stun them against the wall, you know, find that pick, it really can look incredible. But if you're not willing to find those angles and take those risky moves, then you don't really do anything, right? You don't really have any presence. So you have to really know the limits of the champion. If you're not an expert Poppy player, it's just not a good pick.
Levi actually undetected into this bush. Can't do much as a level 5 Shyvana, but they don't know he's there. As actually, Oddie was thinking about starting the Drake. Really strange positioning. There's nothing for him to do. He's jobless at the moment, so he's cleared the jungle so fast, he's just there in case the Wukong arrives.
Exactly. Just trying to play behind him, you know, make sure that he has that cover, help him get the reset. In these melee versus range matchups, can be difficult in the early levels, so, you know, he's just trying to help him get that push. EasyLove getting jumped on here. Lyonz not able to connect with the Winter's Bite, unfortunately. Otherwise, they could have maybe gone for more, forced out a cleanse or something, but EasyLove, nice little sidestep, is able to hang on as Elio heading down to bot once again. And R7 moving over to the Dragon. It has been spotted by GAM, but it looks like it's just going to be a trade for grubs, and Summit's aware of it because he did board it.
Yeah, it's given, though. There is Rumble, push in the top lane. Levi is going to be hitting level 6 soon. He won't get the Drake, but he still will have a smooth ride to level 6. And the other thing that we were tracking in this early game was how Kiaya was going to be doing against Summit. So far, it seems fine. He's had push for a lot of that lane, never been in danger of a death. We will see, though, once Summit gets a few more items, the Null Magic's going to make him a lot more durable later on into the game, but so far, so stable for GAM.
Yep, looking pretty good here for GAM, but, you know, you said it. It's like once Summit gets, you know, Merc Treads, gets a little MR, starts getting some HP, it can be very difficult because Rumble struggles in those sustained fights against Gnar, especially in a long side lane. You can't really 100-0 a Gnar, you know, unless you're way ahead of him, and then all of a sudden, you know, he's healing up, you know, he's proccing Mega Gnar, he's getting that health back, he's, you know, has the hyper to chase you down, and it can get really tough.
Level 6 for Levi's Shyvana.
Lyonz here, just helping Keine push this out. Can use the Targon's charges there. So that's the 4 item, getting to execute on that cannon, so it's going to be able to push that in. It means Emo's going to miss much more of this wave because it got pushed in so incredibly fast. Emo already down a good 9 CS, and will be losing at the very least the cannon.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, though, Seo was getting denied in the bot lane as well, and the red buff as well as the Raptors have been counter-jungled, so I understand wanting to deny a little bit of Yone, but I think overall GAM wins out slightly on that overall trade.
Yeah, not looking too bad. EasyLove taking some damage there on the bot side, but does have the Vamp Scepter already, plus Call and Deep Blade, so a lot of healing already in the kit. So that Ezreal poke not going to be nearly as threatening, but Seo doing a good job, landing quite a bit of it. You can see Elio just kind of constantly going forward, trying to land a Q, and then eating back to the minions before the Braum passive can stun you. So nice little play from him there.
Something GAM did well yesterday, I felt, was play around their item spikes really well. So they've been pretty stable. I think we both really like the structure of R7's team comp, but if GAM can fight on the right power spikes, I think that's the way into this game. They have yet to complete kind of their major items, but they're still farming extremely well, right? They've been able to get enough push in the top lane. Mid lane has been completely even in farm, and with the Cull Vamp Scepter early build by the Misfortune, as well as being able to get this plates, like they're getting these micro advantages, and they're really going to try and turn a big fight, I think, when they get their first core items on everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, draft is important. It gives you an advantage, but draft I always look at it as like a force multiplier, right? So at the end of the day, if the team is playing better, you can eliminate any advantage that someone else has gained from the draft. And GAM definitely are going to have their chances, are going to have their opportunities to make those big plays on these champions. I just worry, if R7 is positioned properly, if they're spread properly, can they get the most value out of these ultimates, which really are the defining characteristics of a lot of their champions.
I'd say Oddie's lost a lot of efficiency to Levi early on in this game, getting counter jungled and then coming up empty-handed on his own attempt at counter jungling.
Yeah, I think he was even spotted on that ward just above him.
Yeah.
So they're playing pretty safely here. It might just be an ulti on the wave if they get nervous, and it is going to be just that, as they weren't sure if they were going to look for a dive. I think that Oddie was probably backing off, but Levi in the area. We'll see if he spots out this big ward, and he does. And had the information that they're not coming to collapse on him again because of that same ward. Summit, though, he's going to mega out. Kiaya doesn't get tagged by the boulder toss. That could have been dangerous for him if he did.
Yeah, individual laning and sidesteps seem really sharp for GAM so far. They've definitely had a few situations. EasyLove in the bot lane, just sidestepping Braum Qs. Kiaya sidestepping some of Summit's engages right there. And then Levi just being incredibly efficient with his pathing. Counter jungling, moving back towards the top side. Will have an opportunity to clear top to bot if he wants to, or stick around for additional grubs. Ooh. And then Emo even keeping the CS relatively close, even though the Syndra has been getting some assistance and seeming to be played with a lot of confidence from Keine.
Yeah, Keine doing a really good job as non-stop and harassing him, trying to keep him down, trying to bully him out as much as possible. TP is back up though, so Emo did a good job. He hung around just long enough, survived just long enough that he could base with TP up. So gonna lose one melee minion, honestly, who cares? And at the first plate, I don't think that Keine actually was in range to get that gold. I think it was off of a recall, unfortunately for him. So we'll see if he can cash in on that second plate, but grubs are spawning up. Elio's already up here, and we'll see if they go for it.
And look at that, the first completed item of the game is the Spear of Sojin on the Shyvana. So he's been power farming, he's been extremely efficient, and he's gonna have the empowered E up and able to fire frequently if they fight at these grubs.
Yeah, and we'll see if that is that difference maker there, as they would love to get these 6 grubs. I mean, I think they absolutely should fight here, but Oddie gonna get a good engage onto Kiaya. Kiaya trying to get back to the team, drops the equalizers. Audie's gone over the wall. They don't know where he is just yet. Now they get that information. Levi popped the ulti pretty early here, but they're getting rocked, and Keine finds a scatter the weak, and it could turn the fight entirely. Levi trying to get it done. Summon over the walls. The flash to follow from Levi is on the other side. It's Emo cleaning up the fight. It's GAM time, baby. Over at the grubs, they're winning the fight, and they're going to get more maybe here. Can't quite chase them down, but it's a 6 grub game, it's looking like, for GAM. They outfight R7, and they come up huge.
And that's what we're talking about from GAM, understanding their power spikes. Yes, they get engaged on, but Levi didn't even have the perfect entry to that fight, and he still cleaned up with Shyvana E after Shyvana E. It's basically like an ultimate power level spell, yet he just gets to use it multiple times a fight.
Yeah, I mean, he had the fully stacked Shojin there. He got the 4 stacks very quickly. You go through the spells, and then you're getting so much bonus damage on that E from it. Really was a difference maker, as we can see this fight one more time.
Yeah, Kiaya gets engaged on, does return some damage, but mainly just delays the overall fight. And I'd say this counter engage there by Keine to get Kiaya low enough looked like it might do something, but then it's really just Levi being able to chase the back end of this fight. Look at that E right onto the Wukong, and he should be getting this Drake as well.
Looks like he's going to be able to secure it, and now he wants more. The Dragon is ready. He flies in and is just roasting up R7, but in comes Seo. Kaine's back here as well. Emo trying to get out. Seo looking for more. Lyonz in trouble, as is Oddie. He's going to jump over the wall. EasyLove looks for the ultimate, finds nothing. EasyLove flashes in, still can't find a thing. Levi's dead. EasyLove's in the middle of 4, and he's in trouble. The Braum passive is there. Keine cleans up. Elio on the side. GAM bite off way more than they can chew, and R7 punish him for it.
They are back. The margins on that fight were so close. It looked like less than 100 health from that final E from Levi is the difference between a 3-for-0 on either side. That fight brings them completely back in the game. 6 grubs on the side of GAM, getting the shutdown onto Levi. I think he's still going to be a problem this game, but R7 came to play.
Yeah, I mean, GAM just were a little bit disjointed on that fight. There were so many low health bars on R7, they kind of got baited in. I mean, EasyLove even, he couldn't find the bullet time, so he just flashes over the wall, but they weren't really there at the same time. And then Elio even coming back, trying to actually reinforce, but he's so low that Keine just kills him with 1 scatter. So, definitely bit off too much, but we know they are capable of making these big plays, and we'll see if they can continue to do that. R7, though, definitely going to be feeling confident now.
Looks like they're not going to be able to capitalize much off of their 6 grubs either in terms of GAM. They still have full plates on mid and top, and we're going to see one of the things that helped R7 in this fight was the interrupted teleport by Summit's Gnar, and then watching this through one more time, Levi, the start of this fight just seemed like it was going to be such an easy win for them, but they are unable to actually get the final hit. The blast cone really just trolls GAM, to be completely honest, sending them everywhere. And yeah, as you mentioned, that flash was not ideal.
Yeah, and I mean, EasyLove just kind of guessed where they were. If he had flashed in and still had the bullet time, maybe it looks pretty different, but not able to quite find it there. And now GAM on the push here, looking to put some pressure on this tier 2.
Yeah, I was going to try and get a little bit of poke down onto Summit. You can see just 2 Shyvana. I'm just going to call them Shyvana ults, but they're Shyvana empowered E's on that turret. Man, he gets so much poke. 1 E there gets Seo down to about half health.
Yeah, Seo on the run here. Elio threatening, but Oddie's going to go in. He pops the cycle and gets rejected there by the Poppy ult. Still in trouble, though. Summit looking. The Boulder Dots connects. The Braum ult not quite doing it. It's EasyLove trying to lay down some cover for Elio. Is able to get out there, barely survives.
Actually, some successful cover fire as GAM take a lot of that inner turret, nearly getting a massive injection in gold at the end of that. And they're also going to be up in tempo off of that play because R7 had to send everyone to defend that, and Kiaya is just going to be able to freely push this top wave, crash it, and R7 doesn't even have a teleport to go up and catch that wave fast.
Yeah, not able to do it just that easy, but Keine going to be up there to catch him most of the wave. Maybe misses just the 1 minion. And he's off to a really good start here on the Syndra, up 700 gold. He is the lone individual lead there for R7, but it is going to be a big threat to some of these members here over on GAM. I mean, Shyvana, you think of it, it's like kind of a tankier champ, but he's building full AP, so he's not going to be that tanky, just going to have a little bit of health really in the kit with that Shojin, and he's going to be going in Landry's. We'll see if he builds some MR after that, because I think last time he did Abyssal third.
And I'd also say so far, I got to give a lot of credit to GAM's laning, kind of stepping up to the moment, not getting gapped by Summit, who has been gapping most people, and then really just buying a lot of time for Levi Shyvana to turn on. If he can complete this Leandries before the next big fight, he's going to be kind of the carry. It changes so much of the texture of this game when he just gets to fire that E off so many times per fight.
And GAM are just playing this so aggressively,
Really
being able to group up and just pushing forward, brute forcing down. And now Levi moves over to mid after getting that tier 2 bot, and he's going to be able to help EasyLove do this. He's playing a great game on the Shyvana.
Yeah, all of these turrets are from the Shyvana. It's the X factor in this game, absolutely. He's using his ult, poking them off the turret, grabbing the turret, and then cycling back to his jungle to get his ult up again and just running that play over and over again. I mean, he's at 6,400 gold on the Shyvana. That's 1,000 gold ahead of Oddie's Wukong. So
that's huge.
It's been really big. That's a 3,000 gold lead they have now.
And when you're playing this kind of champion, you're talking about the efficiency with which he's playing. Efficiency is the name of the game when you're playing a heavy farming jungler, like a Shyvana. So definitely doing well. And Levi has been such a star for the region for so long. Obviously, came into the scene, known for that kind of nocturne power farm game where he got the fast 6. That was kind of the debut that so many people remember him for. Went and played even on 100 Thieves Academy briefly. Now back in the VCS. It's nice to see him performing. It's nice to see him back at Worlds and doing so well. I
will say, though, R7 on this Drake early looks to be like GAM is actually just conceding this for top lane push and a Rift Herald take. So they want to accelerate their gold lead more than try and stack towards Soul. I don't know if this is the right play or not, but it's a very decisive play. It's not like a lot of the games we've seen so far where teams are sending 4 people down, thinking about contesting. They're very quickly just saying, okay, we're going to get Rift Herald and a turret off of this.
I like it because I do think that R7's draft is going to be really problematic for them later on. So they're already up 3K. If you're able to grab this tier 1 without even dropping Herald, and then say threaten a tier 2, drop the Herald right on that, get even more gold, extend the gold lead to 4,000 or 5,000 gold, all of a sudden composition becomes less irrelevant than it otherwise would be.
Yeah, and watching this game play out, my biggest concern for Rainbow Seven is their ability to engage. Because even though we were thinking that GAM has this hard engaged team comp with the Yone and the Rumble, the Shyvana poke alone seems like it's out-poking what Rainbow Seven has. So if GAM just keep the pressure up, move the Shyvana around, and just push them back, it's actually Rainbow Seven who has the onus to engage, and they might not have enough tools.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting, if we get to those later stages, how Levi actually manages that, because you want to be aggressive, you want to utilize that ultimate, but he is going to have to really watch out for things like the scatter. If you get hit by a scatter, then all of a sudden Oddie's following up, and you're in a lot of trouble.
Because that's the thing about this Shyvana build, you're actually super squishy.
Yeah.
It's 2 pretty purely offensive items.
It's
not some Bruiser Shyvana that actually gets to ult in. You kind of ult to the side and then start E-spamming people.
Yeah, nice little chunk there on Summit. Has done a good job holding him pretty even so far up on that top side. Is going to eventually lose the tower. EasyLove backing off, knows there's going to be a push here. Sayo does take a couple of tower shots, but EasyLove able to keep the turret alive at the very least and maintain that gold lead up at 3,000.
Yep, they were able to successfully trade the turret for the Drake, and the question will be, where does Levi decide to use this Herald? But even without using the Herald, I mean, look, he's already keeping the pressure up. He's moving in, stealing blue buff as they're deep pushing bot lane, catch the mid wave, reset. They're just very smartly playing like clean macro, which isn't, in terms of being the reference for their region, people think of the VCS and they think, over 1 combined kill per minute, fight. And that's even Rainbow Seven's impression when we saw them in the feature thinking, yeah, this is just going to be a big fighting game. Currently, it's actually just GAM pushing waves and taking objectives.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, R7 as well also really did kind of level up, from watching them regionally. I feel like they played such a better series here against 100 Thieves. Yeah, 100 Thieves maybe didn't play their absolute best, but you can't take the credit away from R7 for what was a really strong series. Summit obviously was a standout, but it wasn't just him. Keine was gapping Quid, who, had been performing so well in the LCS. So a lot of these members were really stepping up, and we'll see if they can continue to do so. Oh, in some trouble now as Summit going to get caught out, as he is going to get probably burned down. Does scoop him into the wall, trying to buy a little bit of time. The boulder toss making it a little bit closer, but Levi knew he had it, didn't even have to use the ulti. They are able to grab the kill.
Definitely Summit's weakness, leads most leagues in isolated deaths.
Yeah.
When he is playing, even if he is a spectacular laner, there was no connection between what he was doing and what the rest of the team was doing. So a pretty safe gank there for Levi and Emo, and now they're heralding mid.
Yeah, and they're going to be able to capitalize on this. They do get it in. Oddie is around, but he is warded out over the wall here. Don't have the confidence to step forward and actually finish off that tower, but they do have it low and could cash in on it later. Looks like GAM, though, happy to reset. 2 minutes until this next dragon. Again, Levi just taking away as many resources as he possibly can. He is now a good 2 levels ahead. Of course, Oddie is almost 12, but it's still about a level and a half fully ahead.
Yeah, smote the wolves, so wasn't able to smite the Gromp there. Oddie gets a little bit back, but you can see he's struggling in this game to actually find a window to play around. He's kind of constantly playing catch-up to where Levi is counter-jungling so many of his camps and hasn't been able to look for those big engages.
Yeah, Elio is a little bit behind them here. Unlikely to be able to find any sort of an angle, but Sayo also having a good game here, kind of quietly farming up, but EasyLove has been the benefit of so many plates and so many towers going down. He's 0-0 and 0. He's up at 20 CS, but has a pretty significant lead there and has those 2 big ticket items completed now for the MF. The amount of AD scaling on this ultimate is insane. If he can get that really good bullet time, it will be massive, but there's Braum to deal with, which is problematic, and there's also no CC really to set him up very well, besides just like Yone ult or whatever.
For sure. In terms of playing around spikes, though, I'd say this could be another spike for them with the 2 items on the Misfortune. Levi has his ultimate up. That Drake's in 40 seconds. You also see Kiaya pushing that wave out. He's likely to complete his 2nd item as well. And I'm just really impressed with how patiently GAM is playing this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they have those 2 core across the 3 members, and as you said, Kiaya getting really close to his as well.
Couldn't finish.
Trailblazer is done now for the Poppy, so a little bit of additional move speed grab there. Lyonz going to be able to hop it back over the wall to Oddie after clearing out that ward. GAM trying to maintain control of the vision in this area, and Argyle sweep out that ward. Nice attempt at an engage, but the Poppy is equal to the task, able to respond and interrupt that dash
Watch
in.
out,
Nice
Levi.
counter over the wall, though, and you can see Levi is very squishy. Storm Surge procs, but not enough to finish him off.
That's the risk you run playing the Shyvana. Hextech Drake is up. They were kind of posturing over Baron. They might think about... They were thinking about sneaking the Baron, actually, so they're going to end up losing this Drake entirely because Levi got poked out. That is such a big play there for Keine, now getting them to soul point despite being so behind in pressure for much of the game.
And it is a Hextech Soul, which is ridiculously powerful, so definitely the strongest Soul on the table. It is a very large gold lead. It's about 5,000 gold in the favor of GAM, but a Soul really does kind of eliminate that completely, and now it's Baron o'clock. You can see the effects there. They're already hitting it. Now the reveal is there from the observers. Lyonz trying to get over to actually be able to scout this out, but look how far Oddie is.
Oddie's not even
it's just going down so fast.
Syndra has to steal it.
They don't necessarily know where Oddie is, but are they going to commit to it? The Poppy is dead over the wall. They're committing to it. They do burn it down. They use the bullet time and everything. It's a great sneak from GAM. They do lose the support, but it's well worth the cost.
Yeah. Elio, you will be remembered, and you'll be back alive in 15 seconds. R7 07. You're back. Levi going to continue to try and farm up. Eventually, they are going to have to fight someone, I think, but I'm not sure because they're extending their gold lead time and time again, with Soul being the big fear for them.
Oddie in a little trouble as Emo is just going to take this fight. He's going forward onto him. Summit is here to try to back him up. Emo flashes forward. Does he have the damage? He finishes him off. Snaps back. See ya later. What a play there from the Yone. And now Levi on the chase here. Kaine's in trouble. He's flashing in. He's looking to finish him off. There's the equalizer. They're burning down. EasyLove on the flank. Gets deleted by the Keine ultimate. But GAM deal more damage. GAM get the 2 kills.
Massive amount of damage coming out from Kaine's Syndra to kill EasyLove. That's actually going to diminish GAM's ability to take this turret with this Baron buff. Still a huge play for them as they go.
Stuns him into the wall. The cleanse doesn't have to come out. He tries to flash out, but the ignite is there, and Kiaya flashes forward, burns them to a crisp. GAM pushing their advantage relentlessly.
They are so decisive. R7 thought that play was going to be over. 80 carry, dead be damned. They break the inhibitor open and still have supers in the mid lane.
They're nearly 8,000 gold ahead now at this point. GAM have taken a monstrous lead in this game, and this was such a decisive play here.
Emo, 260 CS before this play. Just absolutely knows his limits here, flashing forward the instant before he's going to have to snap back. And then look at how much Levi sidesteps here. Syndra, Braum, Syndra completely annihilates R7 as they step forward. Clutch amount of Syndra damage.
Can't sidestep that, Chad. Can't sidestep that.
A lot of gameplay going on at the very end of that one for Misfortune, but still a huge play for them overall.
Yeah. Was not familiar with your game. There's still a Syndra with almost 3 items there, but yeah.
Storm Surge Ludens,
Levi,
it's real.
he had the jukes there, man. He was dodging everything. He even sidestepped the Summit Q.
Well, that's one of the things about the amount of confidence that it feels like GAM is playing with, confidence and decisiveness. Even very early on in the laning phase, you could see they were willing to play on those margins of being in range of Braum Q, being in range of Gnar stuns, and just sidestepping them, and they're doing that so well and so consistently this game.
I mean, just look at the gold lead in jungle. This is ridiculous. 3.4K right there in the jungle.
It's a Levi gap, man. This is...
Yeah, he's got more farm than Summit, by the way, as a jungler, and he is level 16, higher level than Summit as well. So Levi is styling on them, but the whole team really is performing here, and the gold lead is enormous.
He really makes me want to go play Shyvana. It's not going to look the same, but I'm like, I can farm and then press E a bunch. It's simple, right?
You're not wrong. And we'll see if Keine can get out of there. He farmed, he pressed E, but it didn't even matter. Gets deleted by EasyLove and Emo, who tag team down the Syndra, and now GAM might want even more. You can see Summit in the picture-in-picture. He's pushing out bot. The Equalizer is going to get dropped onto Seo's head. Levi trying to push forward. Can he actually find an E? They're just going to try to bully down this tower.
No minions even.
Are able to do it, and Emo's now in mid lane. Summit's still not basing. They decided, you know what? We can't defend. We're going to try to trade something. But the trade is not worth the cost. They're going to lose the mid lane tower. They're going to lose the top lane tower. They're going to lose 2 inhibitors, if not 3. We'll see if they can get it.
Okay, the only hope that R7 has here is that they can delay these recalls enough or catch something on the back end and get a soul. So GAM is in total control of this game. 8,000 gold lead, a bunch of powerful item spikes, but that soul point is, I think, the one risk they would have.
Yeah, and someone was scared. He thought they were collapsing on him, so he TP'd back to base. So now there's not any sort of an angle for him to even go for a TP flank or anything. He did get that tier 2. He did get an objective bounty with that, so some gold in his pockets. But you're looking over at the items. They are definitely in the favor of GAM, though has to be said, there's no 4th items coming through, and some 3rds are starting to get completed. Keine does have his 3rd item. It's 2.5 there for Seo. R7 are going to need some massive plays if they want to make something happen here, but Lyonz is cut out. He's got no one to jump to. Oddie's going to try to go in and turn this around, but he gets knocked back by Elio. Levi's in trouble. The Equalizer is going to get dropped. Levi's getting burst down. Summit can go for a play. He has Mega. Is he going to be able to find it? They get another kill, and Keine is taken over. Kiaya's on the run, but he's got no way out. Oddie's looking for Elio. They want even more. Emo was not there, and his team pays the price. R7 get 4 kills. R7 get the soul as well, and R7 may have just flipped this game on its head, but not if Emo can say anything about it. He's into the pit, has to go back with the soul inbound. Now can't make anything happen here. They're going to be able to claim it. That's a Hextech soul, and that's the gold lead, shrinking down to 6K. But with the stats from the soul, it really doesn't even matter.
An objective bounty soul, and this is just GAM getting a little ahead of themselves. They engage on a Braum with 3. Look at where Yone is, and then look at where Levi is in relation to the team. The squishy Shyvana gets caught. They opted in to a 4v5, and that's exactly what they couldn't have happen. They'd played such a patient, efficient game up until this point, but they honestly just got greedy. I was watching Levi's pathing even before this fight. He was taking blue buff, he was taking top crab, he was sitting on 1,600 gold. GAM just needed to focus after those 2 inhibitors, all reset, all set up towards Drake, and then take the win. But because they were just, I think, so locked into this efficiency game, they may have just given it back. I think it's anyone's game now. Objective bounties from Gnar killing turrets, objective bounties from the soul itself, and now the power of the soul as well as their overall team comp turning on. I think R7's not out of this.
No, absolutely not. I mean, Keine, again, just 100 to 0 EasyLove with his R only, right? Like, and he is now even stronger and now has Hextech Soul. GAM are going to go back towards the Baron, but this time it's going to be spotted out here. Oddie has the information. Keine is there. Lyonz is there. Seo is there, but it's Emo trying to split this up, trying to go for the base. We'll see if someone can hold him on. It's going to be a fight on 2 sides. Emo's getting aggressive here. Does get slammed into the wall there by Summit, but Kiaya's here as well. It's a 2v1. Can they actually make the outplay in the 1v2 to try to defend? At the same time, GAM are still on the Baron, but it's going down so incredibly slow. It's another member back here as R7 send Keine back to defend. They do lose the inhib, and it's briefly going to be a triple inhib now for GAM. They're going for the hit and run tactics.
It's one of those games. We have one of those games now where one team has no structures but is stronger, and the other team is just going to try and run them around the map. I don't think GAM can win a straight 5v5, but they're going to be playing this double TP, supers in every wave strategy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they don't have to win a 5v5 if they kill your Nexus. That's the problem. You're going to have someone who is on that defensive duty. Summit, though, was able to hold the line quite well against Emo. I would have had him in the 1v1, but Kiaya was there to back him up. And Summit didn't overcommit and get caught, so good restraint from him. And that has been one of his Achilles' heels. These inhibitors are going to come back up soon, though.
Yeah, they're coming up soon, but because there's double supers in every wave, I think GAM can just take the Baron. They are, I think, really tunneled right now on killing the Nexus. But they can start this Baron whenever they want.
They have double solos bot against. They're going to try to overload one side. They have 3 men on the Baron. I think you are right. There shouldn't be any real window for R7 to be able to get over here. And the problem is, if you lose triple inhib and there's Baron, you just lose to the minions. Like, you kind of can't even wave clear. It becomes so difficult. Some of the inhibitors are going to be respawning pretty quickly, so we'll see if those come back in time. But GAM do get the Baron.
Interesting. It's a little mistimed, though, because you can see on the minimap these two waves coming out don't have the supers. So even though the inhibitors haven't technically respawned yet, the effect of them is gone in terms of what is going to be coming out of the base. So they need to escort those waves with their Baron to re-hit those inhibitors, and then they can try and overwhelm the next.
And my real question is, does R7 fight there? Do they actually fight to try to defend the inhibitors? Or do you just try to say, you know what, we're going to wait it out, we're going to give up those inhibitors once again, and we're going to try to wait to fight at something like the Elder?
I think they're only going to take a good fight. Because I think if you let it get all the way to your Nexus, I think that's wrong. But if you overextend for a fight early, that's also wrong. And it's going to be an answer to that question of, do they have enough engage in their team comp?
Exactly. It's something that you were touching on earlier that I was going to mention. Yeah, it's difficult because they can't really pick the engages that easily. You're looking for a scatter, you're looking for Oddie to find an angle to get into that back line. And GAM are just trying to split the map here. They're pushing all three lanes and trying to pull R7 apart.
And we don't see 1-3-1 that often anymore because every space is vulnerable if R7 actually go. Nice rejection there by the Poppy.
Yeah, and now they're going to try to turn it around. Oddie's in trouble. The bullet time comes out, but it's going to be blocked by the Braum. So EasyLove does expend it. Oddie's going to have to go back to base and heal up. Emo's already taking the bottom inhibitor. Levi's going to grab the top one, and now the middle one's gone as well. Summit in some trouble, and the minions are just marching in. The equalizer is going to get dropped onto Kaine's head. Summit is getting so low, he's got to scoop the minions back just to survive. He's back into the fountain. They're trying to clear this out, but they don't have the champions to really do it. In goes Oddie. He's going to try to turn around. Emo's in the back line, though, and Emo finds Keine and kills him, wipes him off the map. EasyLove's in the back line, and GAM make it happen. Hextol, be damned. GAM find the angle, close out the game with the Baron.
Macro in the start, and they just overwhelmed R7 at the very end. Even with the Hex Soul, they were able to just attack from enough angles that R7 could never focus. Game 1 to GAM.
Game 1 to GAM. We're going to have to see if R7 can battle back or if GAM will punch their ticket to the Swiss stage. We'll be back right after this.
Red Bull gives you wings.